Hello students, welcome back to your English session. In this session, we will be continuing with our poem The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu. Before starting this session, children, I would like to mention that you have to revise your poem thoroughly so that you can quote your lines in your answer to get good marks. Now let us see the objectives of this session. By the end of this poem, you will be able to understand the explanation of lines 19 till 24 with its detailed analysis. You will be able to explain meanings of difficult words as used in the context of the poem. You will be able to identify and understand literary devices used in the poem. You will be able to understand the form and structure of the poem. You will be able to understand the title of the poem. Now let us start with the lines 19 till 24. Before discussing explanation, let us do its word meanings. The word tumult means a state of noisy confusion or disorder. Seize, end. Anvils, heavy iron blocks on which heated metal is shaped by hitting it with a hammer. Here it means strong foundation. And life will be refashioned on anvils of peace. On an anvil, a metal is shaped. Similarly, once the pain and suffering gets over, life will be refashioned and filled with peace. And your love ranks when the world will pay tribute to the martyrs. Comrades, fellow soldiers, dauntless, very brave. Remember the blood of my martyred sons. Remember to pay homage. Homage means tribute to the martyred sons of India who sacrificed their lives and died unknown in foreign lands. Now let us start with the explanation. When the terror and tumult of hate shall cease, and life will be refashioned on anvils of peace. So in the last stanza of the poem, the speaker talks about the peace after the war. She says, the day is not far when the hate and terror will come to an end. So what will come to an end? Hate and terror. So hate, the tumult of hate is a metaphor. It is a metaphor for hateful war. And life will be refashioned on anvils of peace. And life will be remodeled on the foundation of which thing? Peace. So life will be remodeled on the foundation of peace. And your love shall offer memorial thanks to the comrades who fought in your dauntless ranks. Mother India at the end demands only one thing from the British, that when out of love they will offer thanks to whom? To the soldiers who fought bravely for them in the war. And you honor the deeds of the deathless one. Remember the blood of my martyred sons. She says that they should honor means respect. Whose deeds? The deeds of the dead Indian soldiers who fought for them in the World War I. So here the Mother India reminds the respect the British Empire owes to the deeds of the deathless ones. She appeals to remember the sacrifice of the Indian soldiers. That is, she wants that the British should remember the martyrs of her land who shed their blood for them in the World War I. The figure of speech used here is personification. The blood of my here refers to Mother India. So that is why the poet has personified it. Now let us see the explanation of the lines. Mother India hopes that one day terror and hate shall cease. Cease means stop. And it is then that life will be remodeled with newfound peace. Mother India at the end demands only one thing from the British, that when out of love they will offer thanks and respect to the soldiers who fought valiantly. They should remember the brave soldiers of India who sacrificed their lives. I hope that the explanation of lines 19 till 24 is clear to you. Now let us see the next slide. The next slide is about style in which poem is written, its form and structure. The Gift of India is a 24 lines poem without any stanza divisions. Each line rhymes with its next line, so the rhyme scheme comes out to be AABB CCEE. Some of the rhyming words are withhold gold, west breast, sees peace, one's sons. So children, in explanation I have told you that the poem is written in 24 lines without any stanza, and very important, what is the rhyme scheme of the poem? It is AABBCCEE, and some of the rhyming words are mentioned here. Now let us see the next slide. The poem personifies the country India as a mother who sorrowfully yet proudly laments the loss of her sons for the British cause in the First World War. So children, laments means a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. So Mother India, she has been personified. Personification means to give a human attribute to a non-living thing. So we have not seen Mother India, but still she is given the characteristic of a mother. Now what is Mother India doing? She is lamenting, she is grief-stricken at what? At the loss of her Indian sons who fought for the British during the First World War. And how is she feeling? She is sorrowful but proud of the bravery shown by them. The words and phrases such as priceless treasures torn from my breast, sons of my stricken womb, and martyred sons clearly establish the mother-son relationship. So priceless treasures torn from my breast, my here refers to Mother India. And who are the priceless treasures? The brave Indian soldiers who died in the First World War. Sons of my stricken womb, sons again here refers to the brave Indian soldiers. My here refers to Mother India. And martyred sons, the same. So here we can connect the relationship between mother and son. Now let us discuss the title of the poem, The Gift of India. The title, The Gift of India, is apt as the poem focuses on the priceless lives of Indian sons given as gift to Allied forces during the First World War. Allied forces means armies from different countries who are fighting on the same side in a war. So the title is appropriate because it focuses on the priceless lives. Now whose priceless lives is being given? It is the lives of Indian son. And it is given to whom? It is given to the British, which is fighting in collaboration with many countries. So the gift which India has given to the British, among many other gifts, is her brave Indian soldiers. The poem begins with Mother India crying out that though the British had taken over her country and monopolized its resources in terms of raiments, grains or gold, the loss is insignificant in comparison to the ruthless killing of her sons who were duty-bound to serve the self-assumed rulers of India, that is the British. Monopolized means to obtain excessive possession or control of a trade, commodity or service. So during the British rule, Indian goods were monopolized by the British. They had full control on the trade, commodity means goods, and services of India because they were our ruler. Raiments means clothes or garments. Ruthless means without pity. Self-assumed means assumed by one's own act or without authority. So in the beginning of the poem, what is the emotion of Mother India? She is crying. She is grief-stricken. She is depressed. Now why is she crying? Because the British had not only taken control over the goods like raiments, that is clothes, food grains or gold of India, but also they had snatched the Indian soldiers from her. And where were the Indian soldiers deployed? They were deployed in the First World War and they were fighting for the British, who were the self-assumed rulers of India. Now, one more thing that the poet wants to focus, that the children of India, or I will say the Indian sons, they were duty bound, they were duty conscious. They knew this thing that they had to fulfill their duty. The precious gift of so many lives of Indian soldiers entrusted to the British cause in the First World War can never be undermined. Entrusted to give someone a thing or duty for which they are responsible. So the gift which India has given to the British, that the loss of that gift can never be comprehended by the British and can never be paid back. With broken hands, pale brows, far away from home, the dead bodies of these soldiers lie in alien graves. So see the condition of the Indian soldiers at that time. Their hands were broken, they had pale foreheads which indicate that they have died. They are far away from their homeland. Their dead bodies lie in alien graves. It is hard to measure the grief of those mothers who gave their sons to be sacrificed in the war for the sake of the British. So no one can comprehend the grief of the mothers who had given away their sons to the British. Mother India believes that the sacrifices made by Indian soldiers would create a world devoid of hate and terror. So here Mother India believes that the sacrifices made by her soldiers would not go unrewarded. It would result in a world free from hate and terror of war. Love, respect and honor will be inextricable part of this new world, laid on the foundation of the gift of India, the blood of her martyred sons. Inextricable means impossible to separate. So what will exist in the world? Love, respect and honor. And the new world will be remodeled on the foundation of, we have done in the explanation, it will be remodeled on the foundation of newfound peace. Losing these priceless gems thus fills Mother India's heart with immeasurable sorrow and grief. The title of the poem is thus appropriate, as no other gift could be as valuable as lives of India's martyred sons. In short, the gift of India is Naidu's apt reminder to all of us that we should recognize and honor the sacrifices made by brave Indian soldiers in forgotten wars. And it directly relates to the theme of the poem. Now children, your homework will be to discuss how the poem The Gift of India both a lament and pride for Mother India, and you have to elaborate this answer by using hints. The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu is both a lament and pride for India. In this poem, the poet has personified the country India as the mother who laments the loss of her sons in the battlefields during the First World War. She is appalled at how her sons have been ruthlessly snatched away from her and made pawns in the First World War by the British. Appalled means horrified, ruthlessly means cruelly, pawns means puppets. These sons of Mother India were deployed in foreign lands to serve the British interests. They fought bravely and died fighting in Persia, Egypt, Belgium and France. She is horrified and grief-stricken at the disrespect shown to the dead bodies of these soldiers who died in the battlefield. They were not given proper burial, and their bodies with severed limbs lay in alien lands like a shell that has been abandoned by the animal in it, or like withered flowers. She feels proud at the valiant sacrifice made by the sons of the Indian soil. The only tribute that she would like to be paid to her martyr sons is that their sacrifice should not be forgotten. So children, I hope that you are clear with the explanation of the lines of the poem with its literary devices and the form and structure with the title of the poem. I would again like to mention that you have to revise your poem thoroughly so that you can quote the lines in the poem to get good marks. And this answer you have to do in your workbook. Thank you.